going to call the meeting.
Thank you. No surprises. All right.
Yeah, get at that. All right. First order of business is approval of the minutes from May 24th.
I had a couple of things.
All right, go for it.
Pretty darn minor. On line 18687, with the mask mandate, I propose we take out that whole first line up to 187 where it says received. And replace it with the BOS received an email from resident, etc. Take out that whole first sentence and the word received, because it's reiterated in the last sentence, so it was just kind of redundant.
So we're gonna take out 186.
Take out, Selectman Ham explained to the board that she conducted research on mask mandates in response to an email received. Take that out.
Got it,
Replace it with the BOS received an email,
got it.
because it just kind of repeats again at the bottom of that, so it was a little redundant. And then on, and I don't know, OJ, if you picked up on this, line 147, 48. Robinson responded that at this point, all options are still under consideration. One, they could do nothing. Two, they could implement water meters with a fee. Well, we can't because the town voted against that.
No, these are options for the future.
Okay,
These are,
future options.
right. We can do that if the town votes for it.
Gotcha. Okay, never mind then.
Again, number 3, water meters with a flat fee.
Well, I
or-
say moving forward, it says moving forward, that all options are still under consideration. I guess for the future, but, right, this kind of leads you to believe that right now we're considering possibly water meters with a flat fee, blah, blah, blah.
How
And I
about
know
the
that
board,
wasn't your intention.
the board wants, there was a brief discussion about which direction the board wants to proceed
In the future?
in the future.
Okay, perfect. Concerning water rates.
You got that, Jane?
I do.
I mean, I know what you meant, it just didn't come out that way.
Yeah, obviously we can't do those things
Right,
this year, but,
that's all I had.
okay. Did you have anything? Jack?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 24th, 2021 as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye. There you go. Then we have non-publics. I'll make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes of May 21 as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and I got
It's been so long, I know.
We made a proclamation last week.
Yes, sir.
It's typed out.
Fabulous.
Sign that, hand that back to Jane,
Thank you for that, Jane.
and sign that and hand that back to Jane.
Thank you.
We have an abatement request.
That's pretty.
This is related to the public service company Eversource Energy abatement application. This is still what is being decided in court. We have a letter from Skip Sansucci recommending that we deny the abatement request. And we have a letter from the town going out to public service, Eversource, explaining our position from John that it will accompany this, assuming we vote to deny it. Have you had a chance to read that or look at that?
I'll make a motion, we deny the abatement request.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
With that being said, just because it's in the same topic, we have been in court with Fairpoint, with couple of dozen-ish other
I
towns,
think it's 17 left right now, but
okay, but it wasn't there, it was closer to 30 to
yeah,
begin
we're
with.
close to 30 to begin with.
Okay. And we had a non-meeting attorney with, regarding this, but we should talk about it in public. The Fairpoint case, there were 3 towns that went to court in the Fairpoint case. A decision was made that was not favorable to the town's positions. So even though we weren't involved in the case, it will
The same facts.
the same facts will affect anything we go to court with. And we got a proposal from Fairpoint that we had originally turned down because there was a provision in that regarding future litigation. It was a, I don't know, kind of a bond we throw into a settlement. And none of the towns, I don't believe any of the towns accepted that proposal. Fairpoint went back and then basically said, okay, we'll do all the same things in a settlement, but eliminate that future provision.
right.
And we had a meeting, but we want to just do it in public now, that we would accept that litigation settlement from Fairpoint.
And they actually reduced, if I remember correctly, they reduced the interest rate that they were seeking on the
Yeah.
best
Yeah, good
monies that were owed.
Get down to 4%. Yeah, I think it was 4, from something to 4%.
Right, they reduced the interest rate and they suspended, if we make the payments as we're supposed to, they've suspended accumulating interest as of, I believe it was the end of December of 2020. So the first
Right.
5.5 months or whatever. I don't know when we need to get that check in the mail, but there was a
Well, I think once
pretty brief
if you
deadline.
guys vote, we'll move quickly
Yeah.
to get it. We'll have to get I'll get the attorneys to ship us an actual agreement for you guys to sign.
Yeah, because the amount was estimated by our attorney based on his,
Yes, so that's.
and it was an estimate.
So you have to
I
get the
mean,
exact number. It's
you're
gonna be
right.
in the 60,000 or
Right.
something.
Yeah,
Something
between
like that.
61 and 62, but, you know, his estimate might be off by, 50 or
Whatever.
$100 or whatever, depending on how they calculate
Yeah.
the interest. But let's, I will make a motion that we accept the proposed settlement for the Fairpoint assessment case as outlined, and I can't remember the law firm's name.
It's.
Mayor, DTC lawyer.
Yeah, Donahue, Tucker, Central.
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All
Okay,
right, that's
I'll
unanimous.
contact him first thing in the morning.
He's, the attorney already got a note
Okay,
that we were in agreement,
okay.
but just to
I'll
verify
tell
that
him the vote was
the
in
vote,
affirmative.
official vote was taken tonight,
Yep.
so,
Fantastic. That's good to have that behind us.
yes.
Keep ticking them off the list.
Yeah, well, we are looking favorable-ish in the Eversource case,
Mhm.
but not so much in the Fairpoint case, so we'll see. All right, with that, let's go on to the next thing on the agenda is the solid waste management plan. And I believe this is on the agenda because at the meeting that I was not at with the joint board with Woodstock, there was discussion about the paving project of the solid waste facility.
Yeah, Woodstock feels that they shouldn't be liable for any of the road maintenance, including around the facility as far as paving. It should be all on the town because we own the property. So that's the way it was summed up, as I remember you got. So
Have we got an opinion? Because Gil Rand was the only member that voiced negativity about that. And he said he was going to talk with their council to get an opinion. Have we received an opinion?
no, we have not. This is, if
I
you
talked
haven't
with
yet.
I talked with one of the selectmen the next morning and just said, where are you gonna put your new school and your new waste treatment facility? And, he didn't give you a response, so whatever.
Oh, goodness.
So those are the two agreements that
Yeah.
Jane worked was able to find, I saw nothing in there that mentions to that fine unless there were
And
sidebar
either, I didn't find it in
conversations.
either one of them.
No, it just said with
I
the
think
operation
it's-
is to be
Yeah,
divided. And it doesn't specify whether pavement is,
Yeah.
or is
that's,
not.
well,
so.
well, Selectman Rand in Woodstock, his opinion was that paving is not a maintenance of the facility. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And I kind of think that anybody would wholeheartedly agree with that.
Well,
So,
I think our position should be, we wait to hear from them to see if they're gonna dispute
I
it.
think we reach
but-
out to them because I think Nate wants to get this paving thing going before too long.
Yeah,
He's
I
got, and Nate's got other paving to be done, he wants to do it all at the same time.
Right,
So
right.
let's not
Let's-
wait
he's
for
gonna-
anything, let's reach out.
He's gonna do all of his paving this fall, so, but you do have time, but time goes by.
Yeah,
So
no,
we should
let's
line
reach
this up.
out
Yeah.
and we are Zooming, so we can invite them to join us via Zoom in 2 weeks, or we can join them via Zoom and this got forwarded on to them, these two,
12, or the
Um,
21st.
these two solid waste agreements got forwarded on to Woodstock, Jane?
No, I asked,
just-
and it was to
I
start
said I
with
wanted
you
to
guys
before we
and
did
see
it, I
where
just
Yeah, let's
direction you
forward
want
these-
to go.
Let's forward what we have to them for their review and then get together again.
Do you want to recommend 2 weeks and have them zoom
It's up to
in?
them. I can, I mean, it took what, 10 minutes last time? We can zoom into their meeting. They can zoom into ours. It doesn't matter either way.
Well, let's see, first of all, I suggest, let's see, if they've got an opinion from an attorney that we may need to look at. I mean.
Right now, the
quick-
agreements don't mention it, so it's 50/50.
Right. I
Right,
mean,
and the
the
agreement
agreement is
specifically,
specific there about the construction, operation, and maintenance of a refuse
Yeah.
facility.
yes, to
So, I
be
mean,
shared
that's-
equally,
So I
That's
think
the
maybe
maintenance.
put it on them to say, well, okay, show us
right.
where
Rather
it's.
than waste time in a meeting, I
Right.
mean, let's see what their attorney, if
So-
he's contacted.
So what, do you wanna reach
We'll
out?
reach out tomorrow
Yeah,
Okay,
to Judy, and I'll just simply say, where you guys at, our interpretation, the board's interpretation is, it's 50/50
50/50, and would like to do it this year.
unless.
And
yeah,
the
we're
bill
gonna-
for 11,000 is earning interest.
and that the Woodstock Board of Selectmen expressed their desire, I guess you could say, to seek council's opinion, and
Yeah,
ask them
so
if they
they
received
got it,
opinion,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
cool.
And then can you put this on our next agenda, just so we doesn't get overlooked, thank you.
All right. Town managers report?
Two things, obviously, we've gone mask optional here at Town Hall now, including the public.
I think
So-
most places are, yeah.
And we're doing, we left the markings for social distancing and asked people if, if they do have a cold or a sneeze, would they please put a mask on, just to be courteous.
Yeah.
And our staff's gonna do the same thing. Actually, I've gone one step further, if they have a cold or sneeze, stay home.
Yeah.
And we'll just see if we can get through summer. I mean, I know,
I wasn't
It just
here, but
became worse.
how bad was allergy season, the pollen this year? Was everybody staying home?
I don't,
Was it bad?
wasn't that
No.
bad, at least, I
Okay.
usually am affected, I wasn't, but
Good,
it's been crazy with hand
Sure,
washing and masks
sure.
and stuff, so. With the building committee, for the fire and police station, we did meet at the site, the airport site. And after seeing it, they are gonna concentrate all their efforts and took a vote in the field to present workup plans for police fire station at the airport and go forward whenever that'll be, but that'll be the spot they want. They just agreed that's the.
now their
so-
thoughts were, that's the one meeting I missed was that one, the site visit meeting. Their thoughts were police fire in one facility and town hall
As
in a
an
separate
option.
facility, whether it be in this building, including the downstairs renovated, which most people like because they like having town hall on Main Street. And the other option was a smaller piece of property next to the community center on the other side of the convent, between Mansion Hill and the convent.
Mhm.
That would be a large enough piece of property for a town hall. However, most people really like the idea of having town hall on Main Street and just doing a police fire facility.
So what I've done is, I've got on Saborn and Towers' long list of work to get that property. We don't have anything current formally surveyed, so we know exactly what, he knows exactly what we'd be working with, and we're moving from that. And leads to my next thing, the materials that are stored on there should be gone on the 15th of this month. Coleman starts West Street.
Nice.
All that stuff will be used or gone away.
Will they
Coleman-
continue to use that property for materials throughout the?
Just that construction, when they're done, that place will be clean
Sure.
and reclaimed, and so
Great,
it'll be gone within a few months.
good news for the residents on West Street that have been so
Yeah.
patient.
Yes. On that site, are you having the survey, just a boundary survey? Are you doing a topo that,
Initially, what the committee wants to do is initially with just a boundary survey, so they know exactly and then they were talked briefly, and I'm sure doing follow-ups, is to go to an RFQ for an architectural firm rather than trying to visit 20 different and come in, and because that won't cost any money, they just come in and pick up. And then we have monies that I feel, cash on hand for that we probably could do that, and then have a set of plans that they can start presenting for them, that we can start this year, next year, whenever.
The committee needs to be aware, though, that they don't have the authority to spend those monies on anything. It's the BOS, that they
Well-
bring their recommendations to the Board of Selectmen,
Well,
and the Board of
they know
Selectmen,
that, they
Okay,
know
good,
that, okay,
perfect,
they just,
okay,
but that's what they want to do, and then I think it's smart, because
absolutely,
then
I
you,
don't disagree.
then it's, and I made the suggestion at the meeting, I don't know if there's, hopefully there'll be minutes, because I didn't hear anybody mention that Tammy wasn't around taking minutes, but
why not?
but I think that will come up. But I suggested
I
to
made
them
all the
that
Zoom meetings, I
in
just
looking
didn't
for
do
an
that one.
RFQ, one of the major points is these firms, you make it clear that you want them to also bring any state and federal funding to the table as part of their proposal, as a proposal, who they pick, because that saves the town a lot of legwork
Absolutely.
if you have the firm do it. So, so I think they made some headway. There's a lot of work to go, but I think they got a plan.
They do,
They got a
yeah.
plan, and I think, so we'll see
A
how it
lot of
shakes
good
out.
minds on that board, too.
Yep,
Yeah,
we had
on that
another
committee.
gentleman show up. I wish I could remember his name, but he just showed up out of the blue because he just thought he ought to listen and get involved, and I think they talked him into being on the committee, but
Sweet.
he's a new resident of town.
Oh, good.
I can't remember his name, but anyway. Apologize for that.
It's.
Oh, he's on the-
Mr. Moncho.
Vikram Mantra.
Yes, very
That's right.
nice,
Oh,
Jeff.
okay, it's on the Board of Trustees.
Trustees.
Yeah.
Trustees, he just showed up and said, no, I don't want to be on the committee, but then he started listening and he had input, and
Good,
next they're like, no, you should be on the committee, so.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I still have not met him.
Very
Really
nice
nice
guy.
guy.
I've
Nice guy.
heard great things
Yes.
about him. I've
I
read
do.
him.
I've read his book,
Very nice guy.
nice people.
Good news.
Okay, so that's that. Short-term rental registrations and violations. I want to update you as of today. There are 344 short-term rentals registered, and $17,200 has been collected. The last, and that was as of 4/9/21. Last update, 4/9/21, there were 280 STRs registered and 14,000 collected. So we made some headway. There's been an increase of 64 units registered since the 4/9/21 update. Now, having said that, the PD was called to an incident
There's been a few incidents going on.
The big
Lisa
one.
took the call today,
it was up in
somebody with 2 units.
Yeah,
I
and-
don't know where it was.
I believe it's up at
Clarebrook?
Clearbrook. And it was a parking issue.
Yeah.
Clearbrook Association There's supposed to be 2 spots for each unit, counting it. This one unit had 8 cars taking up other people's parking. They called the PD. PD says, nothing we can do about it. It's all private land. So PD takes names and just leaves. So the owner was upset, short-term rental. The association didn't even know there was being short-term rented. Okay, so classic.
Which is why we want people to register.
And they're not.
They weren't
People
registered.
are not registering.
That unit was not registered.
And Ron,
Now they
I'm
subject
afraid,
to,
I wish
they're
Ron,
subject to a fine?
they are, but here's the thing. The woman won't return our calls. Was mass, won't return. Numerous calls. Lisa spent 5 hours today trying to track people down. 5 hours. I told her to start out of the day when she's supposed to be doing others too. So not just the short-term rental. Ron had to step up. Ron did the calculation. This one place, if we had some way of enforcing, and when I talk about enforcement, the PD can only go so far. They cannot do civil process. There has to be a criminal violation. So our police department can't enforce this ordinance.
Right.
When it comes to the money. It has to be civil.
Right.
Okay, so at best, we'd have to get the sheriff's department, and we gotta pay them to serve notice, and then it's court. I believe Ron will tell you, when he walks back in here, he did the calculation. If we were able to find this person since the ordinance took place and all that, she would owe the town of Lincoln over $7,000. And she won't even talk to us.
Why not put a lien on the property?
Well, but this is all legal stuff.
This
We're
is-
gonna,
yeah.
we have to figure out a way now.
Going
we
forward.
Open this up, how we're going to enforce it. Ron, can you, I just was in the short-term rental, what did the calculations you did on that?
Oh, that one that
Yes,
I left a message for today.
yeah,
So I did the calculations, the person's received it twice in 2 different tax bills, still hasn't. Make a long story short, it was $3,650.
Per unit, times 2?
No, for 1
Oh,
unit.
1 unit.
Well, she combined 2 units into 1.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's what it would have been if we were able to track and did a letter, and in 10 days, if she didn't, send another one, so that it's
Sure.
scheduled.
So is there any reason we cannot send a cease and desist to her mailing, illegal mailing address?
we can, but then if they don't, what do we need guidance. What do we do if they don't? That's the problem.
Well, number one, I mean, the association's got to be made aware. I mean, they're gonna have internal issues. If somebody's taking 8 parking spots, I live here, I'm gonna go after my association. They have an obligation to me as a dues-paying member over there to do something. I mean, somebody could file a lawsuit
I
against
think
them.
one of them has got an attorney, right?
Yeah, the one that's
The
complaining.
one that's complaining, the owner that's complaining about his neighbor.
Yeah.
In the is suing the association,
Oh, okay.
but it's gonna take,
He read my mind.
it's gonna take. So here we are.
And that still doesn't get her registered.
And we had, and again, I'm gonna talk on my head, but either somebody, Lisa or somebody had a conversation with someone that's closely connected to one of the associations. And maybe have 20 or 30% of their association have registered, of the over 100 they know are doing it. So we do have scofflaws. That's after 2 tax mailings. And I just don't, I can see we're coming up against a wall. We're spending a lot of staff time trying to enforce this.
Now, the company that you brought to us a few months ago about taking over the registration of short-term rentals, what would they do?
I'd have to go back and visit.
I mean,
Their
wouldn't they
proposal,
come up
but they
against the
have-
same brick wall?
Well, no, what they would do, they've identified them all. So then they would do like we did, do the first notice, there is an ordinance, you need to register and comply, $50 fee. And then give them the time in which it goes
Right.
into effect. Then the ones that don't register, they will do an automatic mailing per our ordinance, the failure to comply. And then days after that. If they do not, then they would be sent another letter with the violation and the fee attached. If they fail, another one goes out 10 days later, and it just keeps growing.
Every 10 days.
Right, so right now, the only way we can do it is we gotta
And
try.
they-
So say they send this every 10 days, you owe $1,000 every 10 days, and now you're up to $10,000 or whatever. How do we get that? What, I mean, it's still gonna
But they-
take
Well, you
lawyers.
may have to change your
It's still
ordinance
gonna-
that after so many attempts to get them to register, that a formal cease and desist will be issued and you will not be allowed to operate within the confines of Lincoln and Hampshire.
So why can't we
But
send that
this,
letter?
this other company also would notify the platforms
Oh, they
Right.
would know
as a
the
black.
short-term Airbnb and VRBO and all that.
They instantly notify them, and there's that. But again, there's over 60 some odd left, so they start
Sure.
playing checkers with
So
that.
they would
But at
notify
least
them all.
they would start, that goes right parallel.
And then
to-
one of the local companies that manages several of these in their monthly newsletter keeps telling their clients that, you need to register, but that's as far as they can go,
Right,
And then, so some of the local management, at least one of them that I've spoken to, is taking it that extra step,
Excellent.
trying to help us.
so now say this company notifies these platforms that these folks are blacklisted or whatever. Do they stop advertising for them? Do they
Well, so I
take them off
don't
the
know that
list? Do they?
person, but I understand that these platforms they don't want folks on that aren't following local ordinances.
That is correct.
That is
Well, their
correct.
reputation.
So they have, so they basically say, don't bother, we're not taking your advertisements anymore.
Gotcha,
And so it's slow but surely they'll drop, but I'm
Okay.
sure so that hits. Now, I know South Peak homeowners are attempting, that's what they tell us anyway, are attempting to change their bylaws to strictly control, if not eliminate, short-term rentals. They're running into huge pushback from what I
Oh, sure.
understand.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted to reset their minimum to a 30-day
30 days,
minimum
Yeah.
rental, which is not what a short-term rental
right.
is, really.
So,
well,
You
Trump
would
was
think-
successful in Manhattan, maybe, we'll see.
Tammy, if you remember too, I was looking into trying to get somebody local.
Mhm.
So I did go up to the high school, met with second commander of IT, one of the IT teachers. Dan Adams was his name.
Good guy, yep,
Very nice gentleman. And he referred me to another young man who had graduated, Forrest Cavoni.
yes,
And we talked about what the board might be looking for. Would he be able to do it? He researched it, and he said it would be too much for him, so he couldn't.
right.
One of the things, like just was mentioned about, getting off of VRBO or whatever. There's many platforms out there where you do it yourself, where you don't even have to go through a
Sure.
third party. Rentmyhome.com or rentmypartment.com. There's a ton of those. I know one of my neighbors uses that platform frequently, therefore he avoids a fee. I mean,
Right.
he doesn't get the chance to vet some of these people the way that the others
Right.
platforms do, but it's worked out successful for him.
we do have the ability, once we are made aware, like this latest one, it's clearly been identified by the association and police reports. We can report them to the state as far as their rooms and
Meals
meals.
tax, yeah,
But if they're
Most of
renting
them-
through
most of-
Airbnb, they're
most-
already paying it, because,
Well, this is
Yeah.
it, but that's why they
Yeah.
get shut down. They
Sure.
get shut down on them, then we get the state on our side of that, because
Right.
you can bet they track that. So,
what
But it
was the
takes
estimate
time.
you had from that company? Do you,
what's that?
that estimate you had from the company was,
It was,
cost?
it was a
Yeah.
20, I'd have to dig it all back
22
up.
and some change, I think, 22,000 and change.
So this is-
28,000 and change.
17,
29,
28 change.
28
It's a
change.
percentage of,
now we charge $50 to register each one. If you charge $100, you pay that. Just for what we have, which is only partial.
and they said, if you remember, there's been what, a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
now 2 years, but that the average at that time was like
$220.
200 and something,
$220.
that we were so,
$100
that's
is
not-
nothing.
the US and Canada,
Right,
that we were like It's unbelievably,
I feel, and I don't know how you two feel, that we should try to get that put into the budget this year with the offsetting revenue.
it is, and I
Definitely.
think some of the associations are gonna take the bull by the horns because they're getting an unbelievable amount of complaints.
Right,
But, you know, it's gonna, obviously,
and even
there's
if we
gonna be
doubled
legal
it to
challenges.
$100, that's less than a night anywhere in Lincoln,
Yeah.
anytime.
But we just don't have the staff. And
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, we start filing cease and desist. That's, Malia has to write them up, Peter Malia, or
Yeah.
his office. Then they get served.
I
And
think
then-
before we start incurring tons of legal fees, we try to get it put in the budget next year to have this company.
I will say that I haven't been reading a lot of it, but Granicus has, they're staying in touch. They're monitoring Lincoln.
Yeah.
Because I get little emails every once in a while that
Granicus.
Granicus is the name of the group. I don't know.
Does Conway use them?
Yes.
They do.
They do now. Yeah, they did their whole suite after 1 year of just getting addresses. Because Conway, certain parts of the town, they shut it right down
Mhm.
by vote of the people.
I think before that, it gets to that point
Yeah, I
of
don't
out of
think-
control, we should
Yeah,
do something.
Lincoln,
about it, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I have to be honest, you ought to try getting people to comply, or at least, because it is a good business. I mean, but if it's disruptive to neighborhoods, then, and if you're a remote, as obviously the lady that owns this place, it doesn't come up here much at all,
Right.
and is not cooperating. So
Right.
how many of them are out there? I don't know, but, you know, there was quite a set to up there as far as parking. Of course, the people that came said, hey, we rented it, where are we supposed to park that?
Right.
You know, and of course, everybody had so I don't know.
Ron?
Yeah, so excuse me, an example without naming the association or anything. I spoke with one of the associations and that person spoke with their board and actually supplied a list to us from people that had told them within their community that we're gonna do the short-term rentals. I then gave that to Lisa and she compared how many had registered with us. And then Lisa also wrote down the addresses of the ones that registered but was not on the association list, gave that back, and that was well received. I think I'll reach out to some of the other associations and see if we can do the same thing, because that gave us some addresses and those people clearly didn't register.
Mhm.
But it also gave the association good info of people that registered and didn't tell them that they were gonna do it.
Mhm.
Because they try to enforce the parking within that community and manage it for emergency services, so roads aren't blocked and all that stuff. So we'll go that route also, just so you know.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to reach out to the associations, Ron. I mean, you know, not only does it allow us the name of the owner in case of an emergency, I mean, we're talking summertime now, but in the middle of winter, snow plowing, fires or what have you, you know, wood stoves go on fireplaces. I know they're not supposed to. But I'll give you a prime example. Next door neighbor rents out, and I have his number. He's a friend of mine. I call him. I said, how many people do you allow in the maximum? He said, 10. I said, oh, wow. I said, boy, technology is great. He said, what do you mean? I said, there's a lot of self-driving cars around here because there's 22 goddamn cars over at your house. He said, what? And I said, well, I just counted them and I know I wasn't that great at math, but there were 22 cars over there. So he called over, 8 cars left. That Sunday morning, there was still 14 there. And somebody had put their head through a bathroom wall. You know, they get on
Jeez.
social media, we rented a condo, come on up. Pay, you know, $20 and sleep here with us.
Well, and the other thing too is I'll say we have never shown an interest in discouraging it. We're just looking for compliance so that we can deal with
Complaints or
Issues like that.
complaints
issues.
and who the proper contact is, because the less time we spend trying to get in touch with the
Right.
proper person, the quicker the situation will be mitigated, and try to keep peace and harmony within all
Right.
these little communities that are in this.
But one of the issues that we had when we first started talking about this was a short-term rental that the folks had come up and they parked in the wrong driveway, they parked in the neighbor's driveway. Looking at the house, it was confusing the way it was. And I mean, the PD knew who the owner of the house was and easily called, but it was, what if they didn't know?
Yeah.
And that was one of those easily solved, hey, you parked in the wrong driveway, move it to the other side of the house.
Yeah.
Done over, no issues, and that's what we needed. You know, it's,
So as we move through the budget process, we'll, if you guys are willing, we'll post the
Yeah.
updated figures together and
I think we
obviously
need
it's based on, so.
Yeah.
And Conway, and we can have, Conway's using their full suite so we can see how business is going over there and how it's working out, so we'll have some history there.
Yeah, in the meantime, I would think that we'd want to take
This lady
action.
needs space.
We've learned about a scofflaw who has not registered and won't return calls. We
Right.
send them a cease and desist.
Yep. That's-
And a bill for, I think we have to give them do we have to give them a written warning according to that? But-
Yeah, well, so we can take it, they get in the first,
Yeah, because you got two tax
December's
bills.
bill, whatever it was.
right,
And then the most recent one was the second attempt. So 10 days after that, we'll just start the $50, and then we'll issue the cease and desist. And if they continue to operate, well, we'll just keep adding the numbers up, and then,
And you mentioned a good thing there. I don't know why we couldn't lien properties. It's another cost,
But it's something not paid.
It's something not paid. I think you'd have to do it
through a
with,
court.
with Peter Malia
Oh,
involved.
yes, but that's it, but
To make sure it's written properly.
Yeah.
It's delivered properly and.
we don't need a
defended.
cease and desist. Per our ordinance, the first offense, you get sent a notice as a written warning. After you've been sent notice, your first offense is $100. The second offense, allowing 10 days for registration, you get $500. And additional offenses, every 10 days, it's another $1,000. We don't
But
need a
some-
cease and desist, we just need to start sending them
Yeah,
bills.
but you gotta do
continue
the
reading,
lien.
I think it, after so many offenses, you are not allowed to operate.
The town has the right to revoke a permit for any
Yeah, 'cause
STR unit that
she doesn't
becomes a
even have a permit.
nuisance.
She doesn't have a permit.
She hasn't,
to
she's just
revoke.
doing it illegally. So there's no permit to revoke. So you literally gotta shut them down with a cease and desist and then end up in court.
I think we just let's start fining her. Seriously, send out the $100 fine, 10 days later, send out the 500, and then every 10 days, send her a bill for $1,000 on top of it and accumulate it. And money talks. Let's get her attention.
By September, we'll be up to about
Exactly.
$8,000,
She'll pay for
$9,000.
Granicus.
And in a couple of months, when she owes $3,000 or $4,000, I mean,
Then you lien the property.
Well, apparently the
Exactly.
property is busy. So apparently she's busy. 'cause
seriously though, let's
it's
just
up
start
there
sending, I mean, getting a bill for $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in a month is gonna get my attention.
And I'll get with Peter Mario. This will be a test case. What is the procedure we want?
Yeah,
And this,
because if we get him to write the letter.
Yeah.
We can copy the letter and just put a different name as other ones came up.
Yeah.
Change name and
Yeah.
address.
yeah,
I just
Right.
looked up Granicus's proposal.
Man.
100% discount on 38,000 to 31,000.
31,000, okay.
but if they,
Yeah,
if they was,
copies of it,
if we
right.
pull in your actual amount, which they feel is quite a few, then just on your registration fees was more than.
Oh, and that'd be offsetting revenue.
The offsetting
I mean,
revenue.
the thing is,
Yeah.
when they said initially in the report, they said they discovered
discovered
800 and some odd.
And
And some of these, I know for a
A
fact,
lot did.
my own,
and some
I'm
didn't.
Ron, I'm
I
attest
always
to
thought
this.
that would be our
Like,
warning.
all the
Yeah,
village
that's
in the
awesome.
mountain,
But to
we have
follow up on that. we
you
need
know,
a
if
person.
you walk into the mountain club,
Sorry,
if you
sorry.
walk into the mountain club and you own the suite, you own really two rooms, two sections that can be rented out. The same as the lock-offs over in the village. Almost all of those units over there have a lock-off.
Right,
So, you know, when they say there's 800, some of those could be the 300 that are registered with us and add a multiplier of
Yeah.
the
Right.
second unit that's part of that, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
right,
I don't know,
It
but
adds up.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay,
all right.
so that's that. We'll proceed
I
with that.
think Len would get raised or he would have no.
Oh,
You have a hand raised, Jane Ludwig.
go ahead, Jane.
Yes, listening to this, I was wondering about the pores and how we don't usually do their roads and we kind of don't take over things. With this application, is it even necessary to go that far? Because I'm just not looking forward to any more lawsuits. Like when you're talking, well, we can get $10,000, we can get it. I doubt we'll never see that anyway, quite honestly. And could you ask the attorney if there's any legal things they can do to the town, the municipality, by asking pores to follow rules of municipality? Besides, it's not a legal law. It's an ordinance that we made, and there's no RSA behind it that I'm aware of. And I don't want to get the town any more, lawsuits. So why don't we just let the pores be the pores and take care of the association, take care of the issues? Why are we putting our nose in here for some money we may never get anyway? That's it.
Okay.
I didn't think we were talking pores, I'm kind of
I think she
confused.
means homeowners associations. You're referring to homeowners associations, correct?
Yes, correct. The ones that we don't plow the roads, we don't provide them with those services, the pores we look at to take care of themselves generally. And I would be upset if I was the homeowner Airbnb and the town is now asking me to pay them money when I already pay my association money. I just see lawsuits swinging down the, that's what I would think, but that's right.
Yeah, I disagree.
Well,
100%.
we already have the ordinance.
Right,
Um,
it's there,
It's-
yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking to rescind it at this point.
The CRBI suit, the CRBI lawsuit against the
Against the
town.
town.
Mhm.
A simple question without getting into the details. Our attorneys are asking for records going back to 2007. Our current record system only goes back to 2015. And BMSI, who was done our financial stuff
Mhm.
during the period that we're missing, we would have to go back and see if they could attempt to retrieve those records on taxes paid and all that. They want $1,000 to reopen because we don't use them anymore. I would take it out of legal.
We're only required to go back with what we have.
Well, the problem is they have our record, but there's no guarantee that what we're looking for is there. But the town's records in some form are sitting on their archived, but they
But
want
we
to
don't
grant
have
some.
access to our own records.
Not
without
unless
paying
we
them
pay the
$1,000.
$1,000 to open, for
That
them
just
to get
doesn't
their
sound
people to
right.
open the.
And
because
we have no
ended
hard
up-
copies anywhere.
No, that was all computerized, no.
And this is financial records? That's what we're looking for, right?
Yes.
What water tap fees
The
we
plan
used
is
for?
how much we spent, how much we paid on infrastructure improvements and all that stuff, which were all financial records, which were kept by the SMI.
So can we get, with that $1,000, can we get access to all of the town's records that BMSI has and have them archived on our own
I'll have to
cloud-based?
ask.
And then we can
That's
own it
just to open
and
it
not
up.
be held for ransom every time we need our own information?
I'll have to ask,
It
but
kind of
I'm
makes
gonna take it out of
me
legal.
out there.
It's the only place I got to take it.
Agreed.
So it's part of the suit. I would have.
But let's get it all. Let's get everything they have and let's we can transfer it over to our own cloud-based system so
I
that
don't
we
think
have
it's
access to
compatible.
it.
That's the problem. It's a totally different system, so that's why it went away. But
So
to this degree.
So another lawsuit next year and they want this information again, we have to pay another $1,000.
No, I think we can do it. I don't know how we'll have to figure out how to store it or how to
Right.
transfer it over. They all have their own.
I think before we get, as soon as we can, figure out how to store it and get all of it, just not back to 2007, get
So the
all
immediate
that
thing
they
is for
have.
this lawsuit. So the easy thing would be to say, we don't currently have it. It's not in our computer system any longer. I don't think that'll hold up, but so that's about all I want to talk about in public, but it's the spending of $1,000 out of legal, which I can do, and I will do, but I wanted to make sure.
But if you're gonna spend $1,000, get everything that BMSI has, even beyond 2007, and let's figure out how to store it ourselves. And only spend that $1,000 one time on one lawsuit, and then have that info forever.
Can Certified talk to them and see what encryption or whatever they have and
Well, I'll
That
have
would be
to-
great,
maybe come up
I haven't
with a
even
way
got there,
to-
we're talking about the money, right? That's all I want to talk about.
right.
Is,
Well, we don't kind of have a choice, we gotta spend it.
I say, it's my opinion that that data would help our case.
exactly,
I think it's gonna show that the town has proceeded in a forthright manner to
Try to get them what they
maintain
want,
our
yeah.
water and sewer systems.
Right.
You know, they're,
that's the answer. I'll just do
For-
that.
for
You know,
$1,000
I'll get as much as I,
you know, that's 2 hours of attorney time between Peter and Brian.
I don't disagree, I just don't, it galls me that that's our
I get it.
information that we have to.
What I don't
get.
wanna do though is if it's $1,000 just to open up the thing and then it's an hourly
Yeah,
charge to
right.
do, I don't wanna do 18
I didn't
years
ask
worth
that
of.
question. It's
of-
1,000 to open it up.
Yeah, I don't wanna, I
And
don't
they'll
wanna
hold it
spend
open for 6 months.
20 grand to
So-
archive.
If they open it up and open it for 6 months,
That's what they'll do.
everything or
Yeah,
just
no,
to?
open it up for 6 months.
So let's use that 6 months to get anything we can out of there into our own cloud-based
How
storage.
about we look to make it an efficient expenditure of money? I mean, again, I don't know if they're gonna charge $1,000 to open it up and then
It'll be open for 6
an
months.
hour,
and
when
I
you say
think probably
open to,
John will
Accessible,
probably, our finance department can go in and.
oh, she can go in and do
look
whatever
at the
she
records,
wants.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Then she
so,
could probably get a lot off there.
yes,
Well, you don't know, unfortunately, what type of system it's in right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it
not
could be
as I
coded,
understand
it's not
it.
compatible, as you said, with
Yeah,
the
I don't
current
know.
system.
I-
Before we go expending anything, why don't you have a talk with these people
And certified.
yeah, talk to certified, so
and
we can
see
get.
if they can reach into this system and extrapolate all the information we need. Other than that, you know, if they can't, it's not worth it. Like you said, every time you open, it's gonna cost you 10 grand, 5 grand, 3 grand. If we can get away for $1,000, I'd make a motion to authorize you to expend that. But, you know, let's see before we spend it
I'll
out.
just take it out of legal as part of this
Yeah.
lawsuit.
Take it out of legal.
part of the
If
lawsuit.
Jonna has access to it, if she can, like,
We'll see.
get a
I don't
report
think
and
we
just
went that
PDF,
far. We just,
right, but if she can get a report and PDF it.
Yeah.
Save it as a PDF, let's get,
Yes.
let's
and
get,
then we can put it on the
All of
cloud.
it,
You can put it up on the
The-
cloud.
the PDFs can go anywhere.
exactly.
thumb drive,
Okay.
cloud.
Done deal. All right. The 2021 reval contract meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, the 6th,
That's tomorrow at 11
That's
AM.
tomorrow,
11 a.m.
11.
Is that a Zoom or just a phone
It's a
call?
Zoom.
Zoom.
Okay,
I had it as 10.
it was 10,
And then they moved it to 11
And-
because somebody.
me,
Yeah.
had a 9 o'clock meeting that got canceled today.
That's fine.
Okay,
And I think we actually posted the meeting in case more than one of you
yeah,
wanted to attend, so it's posted.
I'm gonna
All right.
try.
All right.
Yeah.
okay.
I may be joining by phone on Zoom, but
Okay,
I'll be there without my
all
picture.
right,
Do
so
we have the link?
the link was.
There's
That
a
was
link.
sent out.
Jonna. Jonna,
From
because
Jonna.
John is participating, so Phil Bodwell, who's DRA, should be sending it out, so
It's already went out.
I'll look.
I'm not,
Okay, we'll get it to you.
it was forwarded to me, just copied, so I have the information, and I'll
Gotcha.
shoot it back out to the 3 of you, but I
Yeah,
did that.
You know, I don't have
it's
it.
on mine. I'll try to see if
Well,
I
hold on.
It's a
It's on my
Microsoft, it's
computer.
a Microsoft Teams
Teams
Right.
meeting.
meetup. And he did send the link and he sent the phone numbers.
Can you have it up? Can you forward it to?
I'll forward it to you.
Yeah.
Yep, I know, I'll do it right here. Oh, can I forward this? It's a calendar entry. Oh, wait,
Okay.
share. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it?
Shut my computer just died, so.
Do you want my coordinate?
I'll get it.
page?
I'll get it to you guys before I leave tonight. Off my calendar if she doesn't find it. And the last thing that I want to bring up is, we We did have a meeting with the Forest Service on the water tank, use of Forest Service lands. We actually, with the forest supervisor and one of the engineers, and with Nate and Ron and Weston Sampson. Very good meeting. They had a copy of our water report on the tank locations, and we told them that the reasons we wanted the spot over at South Peak with an increased elevation up onto, went through all of that, and we also included the Loon Village paired up, option. One of the options was to pair a tank up there. The Forest Service liked that option better than ours, not because it's already a disturbed site, and they don't like to create new disturbances in the forest if they can solve somebody's problem by up there, because that's considered a disturbed site, so you just parallel another tank and it cuts a lot of red tape. But our argument of what we're trying to accomplish and hit 2 or 3 zones with one tank resonated well with them, and they said that's fine, but just understand there's a longer process. So unfortunately they're small projects. This would be considered a small project. Met last month, and all project groups won't meet again until the fall, and that's when they'll take it up, and that's a regional Northeast region of all the projects, and I'm aware of that because of what I had to go through with the repair of Loon Pond Dam in the 11th hour. And fortunately, at that time, when we discovered the issue, their team was going to be meeting within 3 or 4 weeks, so they took it up. And the more financial load that we carry speeds up the process, because if they have to fund the study and the study bats and all this stuff, then they have to wait and plug it into their budgets accordingly. And I knew that going in, and I said we would just make it part of the cost of which we had to do at Loon Pond. I had to study the bats again. I had to do the whole thing. So they were excited about that. They understand the issues. They don't. They were very careful to want to make us understand that they had to meet with Loon, because that property we want to put it on is under a long-term lease. They don't call it lease; it's a long-term agreement.
Yeah.
With Loon Mountain, and they would have to get their buy-in that we wouldn't be interfering with any of their planned expansions, which we kind of believe that spot isn't. It's close to a trail, but it's not on a trail, or so. I don't think we'd hit huge roadblocks with Loon, but so we're in it. We got the ball in motion to study those sites with the Forest Service. Probably talking the earliest would be late 2022, if not into 23, before we got all the permits for that. So this is not something, and they made it clear that this was not something that was going to happen overnight, because there definitely would be studying bats and flowers and trees and the whole deal. They want us to document why we couldn't keep it on private property, which the original site would not be on Forest Service. It would be down on the South Peak. And so we said, well, we didn't elaborate, but we said it's actually it's under Loon's control, Loon Mountain's control, and we probably could, but it didn't meet our needs. But looking at the pressure gradient, we need to be uphill to do all 3, not just South Peak. And so they said, okay, they were good with that. So anyway, so that meeting has taken place. It's in the books, and we're on their list. And they were anxious to work with us, and they also made it clear that if we have any, as part of this whole package, we briefly went over to Route 3, and they said if you still want to do anything on Route 3, we should, they'd like to consider them all at one time, even if it's 20 years from now it happens, but it could all be addressed rather than piecemeal. And I said, well, we haven't really kind of put it on the shelf, but if one of the solutions was to use Forest Service land on Route 3, combine it all at once, they do all the approvals, and it's a done deal as far as, so that's still being, we left that as just kind of a comment from them and something to work on, so there'll be more meetings to follow, so. And unless you guys got questions, that's all I have for tonight.
I had one other thing, and that's the planning board is meeting next month with the agenda item of looking at the sewer capacity study that Ray sent us. And Ray's gonna be there to talk to the planning board about that and answer any questions. I just wanted to let you know that if you're interested,
Do you know what day it is next month?
I don't have,
Yeah, hold on,
did she put that meeting date out yet? I don't. I know Ron hasn't scheduled.
when I say next month, we're already next month, sorry,
This month.
Oh, the 16th,
Is it
23rd.
23rd?
23rd of this month?
Mhm.
Next school board. What time is it?
6 o'clock. And at that same meeting, the other topic is looking at impact fees and off-site extraction fees. And Peter Malley is going to be there to discuss those with the board. So we're going to be paying 2 professionals to be at that meeting. I just wanted to open it up if
Yeah.
either of you are interested and available, that it should be a good discussion.
Absolutely.
And I'd suggest, Jane, we just posted as a BOS meeting.
Yep.
Parallel, and that way you got the flexibility.
Okay,
Yep.
good idea.
It's just, if two or more of you show up, you're good.
Sure.
You have anything?
I had one thing. 4th of July parade theme this year is honoring our first responders.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great theme. Just there's over $600 in cash and prizes awarded for different floats for in groups and bike riders and stuff. The chamber has the flyer on their website, and I shared it on Facebook, and it's been going around Facebook, so it'd be nice to have some little normalcy back. Parade will be nice to have, yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing a cookout?
They are.
Rotary's doing a cookout? We're doing a
Rotary's doing the
parade.
cookout on the common, there's the
In the-
parade, music on the common Saturday
Yeah.
night, and then fireworks.
Back to normal.
Yes,
That's exciting.
Yep. Excellent.
and we're doing fireworks at the sewer treatment facility, correct? Is that
Yes.
where- Yeah,
That's what they usually have.
I was gonna say at the Hobo, but that's not, that's just where I sit.
All right,
That's all I had.
then I'll open up for public participation. Is there anybody who wants to say anything? Paul?
OJ, I'd like to ask if there's a way that you could check with the state on these short-term rentals to see if these people who are not paying their town fees may not also be paying the room and meals tax. And maybe the state might be interested in going after some of the people who are not doing that as well.
Yeah, Paul, I can pretty much tell you that most of them are not, and so that's the, one of the next enforcement things is we start dropping their names down there and see where that takes us.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jane?
Yes, I just wanted to know, I'm sorry I missed the beginning. Did they decide upon the brush? Or was that decided before? Are we gonna be paying for brush, or are people gonna be paying for brush?
Oh, brush at the solid waste facility. The joint board decided not to charge for that at this point.
Leave it the way it is.
Leave it the way it is.
I was wondering if another sign, Tammy had mentioned that she was gonna buy a sign for Mr. Bartlett on PNC, who owns that land, no entryway. Did the taxpayers pay for that sign?
Oh, the wrong way sign.
I said I was gonna buy it?
No, you said that the town would buy it. You had requested that the town would buy it. Did we pay for that sign?
I
I
said
don't know.
that?
Do we have,
Yes, you did say that.
Great.
Pilot, I don't know.
for the,
Is there a new sign there, Jane?
Yes,
I hadn't noticed honestly that there was a new sign there. So-
yeah, there is a new sign.
I
But I
know-
know that was a concern of yours. I just,
No, coming out of the plaza by the,
I believe they
right,
put that up.
the town did put that
Yes,
up.
I believe they
Okay.
did.
okay.
the town paid for that. Okay, all right. And Tammy, I'm sure we'll continue to disagree. We can agree to disagree.
I look forward to it, Jane.
Paul,
Yeah, me too.
go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I did have one other question. I noticed again this year that Loon has closed off access to the river on both sides. The town owns property on both sides of that, of the river. Do you think it's fair that that Loon close off access to both sides of that river?
Where,
Wait, what?
where at the river, Paul?
The beach lot and
Oh.
the river.
Up at Loon,
The bridge?
the bridge, yeah, it's on, it's on both sides of the river. You have no access to either of the parking lots. I understand that I see that they're storing materials down there for their lift, and I understand they don't want people bothering that, but they haven't blocked off the main parking lot either, you know what I mean? So it's kind of random what they're doing, and I'm not sure that I think it's fair to block off access to the river this year. The town does own property on both sides of that river, so as a taxpayer, I think it's kind of very unfair to do that.
But what they have blocked off is their own land, not the town-owned land.
Well, if you look at the tax map, Tammy, you'll see the town owns property on both sides of that river.
Yeah, but it's south of that, well, east, west,
The tax,
west of the parking lot.
but was it updated after the bridge swap?
It was, and the survey was done, and
Okay,
so all of the parking lot, the dirt parking lot on the 112 side to the end of the parking lot and actually into the wooded ways is Loon
is
Mountains.
Loons,
The
correct,
town takes over below. that.
beyond the woods.
Are you
Correct.
talking about beyond it downstream, or are you talking about directly underneath the bridge?
Well, there's both. The town, I mean, directly underneath the bridge is town access, town land for sure. And on the side that, if you look at the tax map, at least unless the tax map hasn't been updated, but the tax map shows on the railroad, where the railroad produces, locomotive is, the town owns some property there, and then puts us right down below on the west end side they own. I just think that it's, we invite people up here to recreate and use our rivers and fish, and I gotta tell you, I fished there, and it truly, it's not a nice feeling, when you just go up there and you can't have access to a wide section of the river, local river, from a company who invites tourists all year long. And I just don't think it's a very appropriate thing.
I think,
I think the town should, I really think the town should talk to them.
Okay, do they, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, to be honest. Do they have the whole beach parking lot blocked off?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the beach parking lot's blocked off and everything, yeah.
well,
I mean,
that's their land.
Paul, I think you'd agree that at least on the northerly side, that's a safety issue right now. As you know, half the road was blocked off because of heavy equipment going there constantly. And they are storing some materials and equipment down below. The other side, I would agree with you, they could open the tank side of that and let people get into the river if they want. But
One side or, yeah, one side or the other. I mean, it's not a,
no, I think that, I would agree with you, but I think that far side, the side closest to the mountain, is a safety issue. I mean, I can see it. When I travel there and I have to go through into South Peak, very, very tenuous going through there with heavy equipment, watching. And, many times there's somebody in a safety vest there directing people through.
I go through there every day and I've never seen anybody with a safety vest, but maybe I miss, but one side or the other, like I said, I mean, all I'm trying to say is we are a recreational community. That's a big wide swath of river. I personally fish there myself, and it's a pain in the backside. I'll walk from where I get to walk from, but you know, I mean, it just seems very unfair to do that from a company who welcomes recreational guests.
I'm looking at the online, the GIS mapping online,
Yeah,
Right
that's- I don't think
and
it's
that's
been updated.
pretty misleading. It's not,
Yeah, it's
the,
not
the
updated.
part on the south side of, the town-owned land, you can't get to it without walking across either Loon's land or a privately owned piece. Actually, 3 privately owned pieces. You can't get to that without walking across someone else's land. On the north side, if you will, of the river, it looks like the town, Loon doesn't, it looks like the town has more than the town really has. If you go on that whole parking lot, Loon owns that whole beach parking lot on 112, all the way to the wood line and then some, the tree line and then some. If you go west to that tree line, that's all Loon's, that's not the town's. This on here makes it look very, very different.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I looked at it, but regardless of that, again, you know, we are a recreational town, you know, I mean, if everybody who owned everything they had said, don't come here, and no access to the river stuff, you know, where would these people go? So,
We can't make them open up their land to
Correct.
anybody, you just can't. I mean, I own land on a river and I'm not gonna open it up to every Tom, Dick and Harry to go traipsing across my backyard into the river.
look, I just want to tell you, I think it's unfair. I mean, in the wintertime, they open it up, they can park the cars there, but in the summertime, local people can't use it. So, I mean, we can go back and forth all we want. We can discuss this. I just think that as a local taxpayer, it's not a very good thing. And if there's anything the town could do to open that up a little bit, one side or the other, certainly would be appreciated.
All right, got it.
Thank you.
I will take it upon myself to call Mr. Scambio tomorrow or Mr. Kelly and see what we can do.
You're a good man, Jack.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know about that, but I will try my best.
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Ed, Jane.
Hi, speaking of rivers and waters, and I know where Paul's coming from. The locals can't recreate when it's nice weather because that's when everybody comes up. So it kind of puts us out. All the locals can't get to the rivers. And I mentioned one time being on the board about putting up signs for parking for residents by ladies' bathtub. And my understanding, what I read from it at that point, was that it was for that purpose. I don't think that would hurt if we did that. And the answer I got at that point was there wasn't any police officers. Now you have 2 police officers. And I don't really think it's going to be that big of a deal. You know, if a Massachusetts person parks there, and I don't think anybody's going to have a hissy over it. But I think making it out open for the residents who have babies and car seats and want to go down to ladies, which is probably the best place to swim with little children, it's totally closed off. So I think we should have those signs put down by the ladies' bathtub for residents to be able to park. So what about that? Is that still a no-go?
Well, I remember talking about that, and the issue that we had with that is that it's not just we just had decided that we couldn't limit it to just residents, it had to be taxpayers. It's the taxpayer dollars that support the town. And there are a lot of Massachusetts people with Massachusetts plates on their cars that own property in the town of Lincoln. So there was really no way to differentiate between a taxpayer and a non-taxpayer. As far
Well,
as
it has to be residents. Residents live 6 months in a day here, Tim. So that would be who the Massachusetts people will still have Massachusetts plates on their cars are not residents after a while. Is that true? That is true. It's the RSA. It says it if you look at it. So anyway, whether they're residents or taxpayers, taxpayers don't necessarily mean they're here all the time. They may be renting it out for Airbnb. They may come 1 week a year. They may come 2 weeks a year. The residents live here all year, winter, fall, spring, summer. And I think all the residents should have that right to have a parking space at a swimming hole that was given to the town for their use. still not gonna do it, huh?
Jane, Paul was just saying, we invite people up. Now we're telling them they can't swim in our swimming hole.
That's right. You can't, well, no, I'm not saying they can't swim. They can walk there and swim like the residents have to do because the parking spaces are taken by out of towners.
Do all residents get dump stickers?
They're supposed to be, but I'm not sure that's happening.
Okay, and all taxpayers get dump stickers. I have the
Correct.
ability to
Have the
get them,
ability to,
excuse me.
yes.
Have the
Correct.
ability to get them.
Correct.
I mean, you know, if a car is showing a sticker, it's like a beach sticker down the Cape. You know, you have a right to, because you pay taxes in that town, you have a right to access that beach property. I'm just saying, you know, I don't know how, you know, you can stop people that pay taxes here from utilizing, whether they're, you know, resident 3 days or whether three months or 6 months or whatever the case might be.
Then put taxpayers in residence. At least the residents have a chance to get there.
And then you come to the part where, how do you differentiate? There's taxpayers that have, a lot of taxpayers have Massachusetts plates, and New York and Rhode Island, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Well, if you give taxpayers stickers at the dump, if they're doing their job at the solid waste facility, then they'll have the sticker on their car.
but
If they don't,
But
They
not all of them use a dump. Some of them live in condos or own condos that have dumpsters and they don't need a dump sticker. So it was just gonna be a logistic nightmare for enforcement. And we had decided as a board back then to not do it.
I think it's unfair to the residents. I don't think you think anything of the residents. Quite honestly.
Go ahead,
Nothing.
Paul.
Yeah, I totally disagree with Jane. I'm a longtime native resident from here. Horses out of the barn. The people who come here, pay their taxes, deserve every bit of everything else that anyone else can get. You know, we live off the backs of all these people who pay our taxes, and they should get to enjoy everything that we enjoy. And I feel strongly about that. So just so you have another, just so you have another aspect of it from someone who's a long-term taxpayer, you know, and knows a lot of people who are on both sides of it. You know, we have a great place here and we invite people up and we should let them all, everybody should have the same access who pays
I
taxes in this town.
I disagree.
Thank you. I'm going away.
Right.
Thank you both. Do we have anything in non-public to
I don't think
discuss?
so. I was just trying to think if,
I think we do.
Okay,
okay,
legal issue?
yeah,
Okay.
okay, yeah. Because I guess we could bring up, yeah.
All right.
I think we're on the same page.
Then let's, I'll make a motion to go into non-public to discuss a legal issue.
I'll second.
And Ron, you can just shut down and